Hello everyone, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to give you an example to show you how to do the strength, your rootedness, the rootedness, and resources. Now again, standard disclaimer, do not put your birth date and time in the comments. I do not do Bazi because don't understand it well enough. And if you do that, you open yourself up to identity theft. So this is my Bazi. I've shown this before. And so when we're looking for how do you find the strength, you look at your day stem, the heaven stem of your day pillar, and you look at the animal sign, the branch, the earthly branch of your month pillar. And you find the earthly branch here. I was born, this is the ox. So I was born in the month of the ox. I have a wood day pillar, so I am a strong day master. Simple as that. I did show that in the Bazi video, but there's a lot more to come. So I am a wood day master in winter, so I'm strong. But when we look at the overall balance in my chart, and that's basically the favorable, unfavorable balance, not the elemental balance, which is something else. It is basically 50-50, about as balanced as I can be. And this comes from both the Chinese Metasoft site and from the Bazi calculator with the Ken Lai method. And there are 3 different methods you can choose from at that site. And you can watch the video on Bazi strength and balance if you want to know more about that. So all of the animal, that is the branches, they also have an element associated with them. And it's largely based on the 24 mountain ring. So the rat and the pig are, if you look at the element that's in the next of the 24 mountains clockwise direction, they'll be water. It's, but whether or not it's yang or yin water will depend on the polarity of the animal. So a rat is male or yang, so it's going to be yang water. Even though in the clockwise direction it is yin water, but it's still water. And the pig, being yin, will take the yin water. The tiger is actually next to the yang wood, and the rabbit is next to the yin wood, and so forth. Now, that leaves 4 animal signs that don't have an element in the clockwise direction. They all get an earth element, and whether it's yin or yang earth depends on the polarity of the animal. So an ox is yin, so it gets yin earth. A dragon is yang, so it gets yang earth. The goat is yin earth, and the dog is yang earth, and that's because the goat is yin and the dog is yang. So it is unclear, or at least not clear to me yet, how much this goes into the overall balance that comes from the Bazi website, the Bazi calculator website, or the Chinese Metasoft site. And I would have to go into great depth in some other people's Bazis to maybe discern some of this stuff. But right now I don't really have time because I'm still just learning the basics. Now, the elements don't appear in your elemental mix like the Joey App spider web thing. They don't appear to affect that at all, at least not in the Joey app. It might affect it in the traditional mix of elements in the Bazi calculator under the traditional HHS method. It could also come from a combination. So I haven't even hit the combinations yet. They're coming. I just have to work a little bit more to get there. So if I just look at just again, this is just my Bazi. I'm going to start with this. If I look at my, just at the heaven stems and the hidden stems, which are all elements, what I get is 6 favorable and 5 unfavorable, which is almost 50-50. But I'm not including the daymaster in the count. So because I have a strong daymaster in the traditional sense by the month and the daymaster's element, the favorable elements are fire, earth, and metal, and my unfavorable ones are wood and water. Now, if we count the daymaster itself, for everybody, if you have a strong daymaster, it will always add 1 unfavorable element. And if you have a weak daymaster, it will always add 1 favorable element. So if I include the daymaster, it's 6-6. Totally equal. If I include the animal signs, I happen to have, again, a blend of these. So it's 8 favorable, 8 unfavorable. So maybe my Bazi isn't the best one for an example, but it is one. So again, I don't know exactly where they cut off their counting, because they usually just give you some numbers and that's it. You really don't know what goes into them. Now, according to the Bazi calculator website using the Kenline method, my overall elemental balance is 50-50. That is favorable, unfavorable balance. And that's true also of the Chinese Metasoft site, but the Chinese Metasoft site does use Kenlai as one of its calculations. And it also uses Joseph Year, but you don't get to choose which one you look at. It seems to be using the Kenlai method for this Bazi balance, the overall chart balance. The modern HHS gives 52-48. The traditional gives 55-45, which probably would say strong, because this supporting is supposed to make you stronger. Now, the reason why I like the Chinese Metasoft site makes it easier for everybody. It does appear that supporting means strengthening and opposing means weakening. But if you want at least the Kenlai method to find out what it is, the Chinese Metasoft site states this in words, so you don't have to think. And it's really clear what is your overall chart balance. And this by itself is worth it. And because you can do your whole family. I think that the Chinese Metasoft site may even have a 1-week subscription. If not, it has a 1 month, and it's something like $10. I think it's worth it. So just make sure you cancel. That is a big thing. Now, am I rooted? Well, I'm a yin wood daymaster, and I have yin wood. Because I have a rabbit, I have yin wood here. And actually the rabbit itself is wood. So I have wood all the way through my whole day pillar. So I am rooted. And it's at the strongest level of rooting as possible. Now, there is one practitioner that says you have to have some water in one of these two in the hidden stems. It has to be down here. And I do have water. It's yin water, but that's fine. It doesn't matter which polarity it is, as long as it's water. So even by that strict standard, I'm rooted, and I have what I need. Now, only wood has to worry about this. And I think the thinking behind this, and I don't know if it's a valid thinking, but wood is the only living element, and you need water to have wood survive. But everything else can survive on its own. It doesn't need anything else. So a water daymaster doesn't need any of the other elements to be there. So So I think that's the thinking behind this. I don't know how valid it is because I've really only heard this from one master. Now, if we look at the other pillars, the month and the hour pillars are not rooted in their own pillars. So the rootedness here is not as strong if it's there. If we look at the month, we do have a root. It is basically at the 9 out of the 12 levels. It's not in the adjacent pillar, so this is pretty weak. But it's also because it's a month pillar, it's not as important as the day pillar. So, but at least it's rooted. The hour pillar is rooted at the 9 level and the 10 level. So this is I think this is the 9 level, and I'm sorry, this is the 9 level and this is the 10 level. So it is also rooted, and it has 2 roots, so that may make it a little stronger. So it means that maybe my ideas and my investments, and I don't have any children, but if I did have children, things would be smoother with them than with my career because my month only had 1. Now, if we look at the year, it is rooted at the level 5. So this is in the adjacent pillar in the main chi, and so this is about as close as you can get and not have it in the actual pillar. So this again has to do with parents, grandparents, bosses, this kind of thing, how much they support me. And my parents have supported me a lot. Now, my grandparents, my grandfathers both died before I was born, and my grandmothers died when I was like 5. And I have only vague memories of the grandmothers. So it's because my parents were on the older side. So but my parents will take place of the grandparents. So in summary, the strongest rooting that I have is through the day. I have the second strongest is probably in the hour, but it is a weak one. Actually, the second strongest is really in the year because this is the level of 5. And then the next one will be the hour, and then the last one is the month. So the career is going to be my weak point, basically, because it has the least amount of rootedness. What this means, when I look at the whole thing, it means I receive support from all levels. That is, the parents and the bosses. The career supports me. I support myself, and my ideas support me, and all this. But what this means, because this is the strongest, I am more self-made than having things given to me, because I'm the strongest of all of these. But without the help of all of these, I'm very certain I would not have succeeded as much as I have, because especially without my parents supporting me through grad school, and me not having to borrow any money to do that, it really would have made a difference. Because if I would have had student loan debt after I got out of grad school, it would be very, very tough. Now, but overall, this really means that it's my determination and drive that are most important. If I don't have that, I don't get very far, because none of these are as strong as myself. So, which is fine, because I think I enjoy having determination. Now, I have received financial help from my parents for education, and emotional support from others. This does make it easier for me to succeed. I don't want to say that, it's all just me doing this. If I did not have the support from the outside, I could not have done what I have already done. So this is all, very important to me, that the people around me really make my life easier, except for the Psycho X. Now, let's talk about resources. I am a wood day master, so water is my resource. I don't have it in the day pillar itself, but I have 3 places where water shows up. So I do have resources. And it's in every other pillar. And I think that the resources don't necessarily have to be down in the hidden stems. I might be wrong about that, though. But in general, these are just resources. So I think it doesn't matter where they appear. Again, this is not terribly clear in the reading that I have done. Now, since I have a strong day master, these resources are unfavorable elements for me, and that's guaranteed. Resources will always be an unfavorable element for a strong day master. That's just by the rules. So that, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense because of what favorable or what resources gives you. Resources makes you learn faster. How can that be bad? So I think that maybe you suspend the rules for the day master about the favorable, unfavorable. It's really not tremendously clear. And again, I have not seen this addressed. They tend, when you read this thing, they tend to talk more about weekday masters in general because people seem to be a lot more worried about that. So it's really hard to find some of this information. Now, Joey Yap, states that my resources are at 80%, and this comes from that spiderweb looking chart. Now, this is 20% above the high level of an average range. So this is significant. That is, this says I learn fast, and most people who know me would agree with that. So, so it doesn't seem that these elements have done me any harm, even though they're not supposed to be my favorable elements. So this is why I really question this. High resources always means you learn fast. That's what resources does for you. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to say a strong day master should not have resources because the resource element is guaranteed to be an unfavorable element for a strong day master. So this makes me think these people haven't really thought about this, or what they say, they're not clear enough that this does not refer to the day master. It's quite murky when you read about this. And many people don't even talk about this. You have to really search for blogs about this kind of thing like resources. This is not the first thing that comes to mind when you read or when you Google, Bazi analysis. So this again is why I really question the statement about resources and being harmful for strong day masters. So, and again, not all masters say that. So I don't know if it just means that for the day it doesn't apply, or if it just doesn't apply. So we can look at the others. If we look at the year, does it have resources? This is Earth. It has 2 fires. So yes, it does. So that's good. Now, the Earth is a favorable element for me, and so is fire. So this is definitely a good thing in my chart. It is. It helps balance the strength of my day master. So that's very good. So if you look at the month, it actually also has 3, and these are wood because this is fire, and these are what supports it. Now, wood is an unfavorable element because I'm a strong day master, but fire is favorable. I would assume that basically they are referring to the element in the heaven stem, but again, they're not terribly clear. So for the hour, this is water. I only have 1. This is metal. But water is an unfavorable element, but it is a resource for me. So it's a little hard to tell exactly if it's truly unfavorable. But metal is a favorable element. So this shouldn't hurt me a lot if it hurts me at all. So if we've done so far, now this is only so far for the overall meaning of the chart. There's a lot more to come, but this is a good place to kind of evaluate your chart. So again, look at the balance of your chart. Is it close to 50-50? If it's not, what is stronger? Is it a stronger chart or is it a weaker chart? Is your day master rooted? This is actually quite important because it tends to have you be more stable and be less able to be manipulated by people. And also look for resources. And like I say here, for me, what does it say? Well, maybe these things should be a problem, but because what is good for what my resource is an unfavorable element. And so these should be problematic, but they don't seem to be. So I think probably the balance chart makes the rules. You know, it kind of rules the whole thing. So if you did watch the thing about strength and balance in the chart, you will see that someone who has a balanced chart can use any element. They do tend to have to shift between elements. You know, maybe they use a favorable element more often, and that may help them more because traditionally we know what is favorable and unfavorable. But I don't think they get harmed so much by an unfavorable element. So my chart just may not be a very good one to look at. Now, we haven't even looked at clashes and combos yet. And unfortunately, my chart, well, at least when it comes to the animal signs, I have no clashes. So I'm going to maybe have to make up some charts just to show you what they look like, you know. So I don't want to ask for volunteers because I'll be overwhelmed. So, you know, I'm just going to make up some charts. So you don't send me your information because I will be swamped. Now, nobody's Bazi should be categorized as bad or good. What your Bazi represents is a bunch of skills that you can pick up easily or with more difficulty. You can pick up almost any skill that you need or want, but your Bazi will tell you where it's easiest for you to pick it up. And so if you're struggling, maybe you go with something that's easy to pick up and get really good at that. And then you can tackle the more difficult stuff. So again, nobody's chart is bad. And nobody's chart is really good either. You might say maybe it's not necessarily good, but maybe a little more fortunate or more indicating a smoother life. But that doesn't mean it's good or bad. If the wrong circumstances come, even someone with a quote good chart can do really bad things. So, you know, it's not all nature. That's what the Bazi is. There's nature and nurture that works together, and that's true even for Bazi. So you don't want to say the chart is me. It isn't you. It may represent your skills, but it is not you. So relax about the Bazi. It's not as big a deal as I think some people think. Now, if you use your natural skills wisely, you can succeed. You have to make them blossom. You can't just do nothing and expect to be good at something. And so people have to work hard. I mean, if you want your life to get better, you do have to work. This is not something that just magically will come to you. You still have to work. So that's it for this. The next thing I think I'm tackling is probably clashes and combos. And that will be a little while because I still have to accumulate all the data. But hopefully you can get to a decent level by following, I think it's about 6 or so videos, and at least have a good solid start to understand your own Bazi. Thanks again for watching.